Good day, Darlington County School District, and welcome back to another In the Know. And here we are at the end of March, beginning of April. Time is really starting to accelerate. Very excited about springtime. The trees and flowers are starting to bloom. The grass is starting to get greener, and everybody's looking more outside their windows, hoping to be outside more these days. So excited about the springtime. I know that you are, and our students are as well. That obviously presents another set of challenges for us, but it's always a good time of year. Well, there's several items that I'm going to be updating you on today. Again, starting off with a board meeting that we recently had. We had a special call board meeting this past Monday. And the primary reason it was a special call meeting versus a regular work session is that we are at certified contract time, where we have to go ahead and get those out to everybody. The dates that those have to be back to the school district is by May 10th. But normally we have those out in April. And every timeline that we've been looking at, it has been compressed. And so we had to make this a special call meeting so we could get our certified contracts passed and get those out into your hands by the end of next week before we go out on spring break. That's typically when we have those. Spring break is early this year, obviously, as well, and so that kind of compressed the schedule. But there were several work item topics that were on the meeting agenda. The first one had to do with the board's budget priorities. And so there was really good, healthy discussion by the full board about what they thought would be priorities for the budget for next year and how that would potentially impact your schools and your classrooms. And so various topics came up, and there were various priorities that came across from the board. For example, one of them was to expand our 4K programs. Currently, we do CERDAP, which is income specific, and parents have to register for that and meet certain income criteria in order to have their children put in that program. And the discussion was, well, what if we offered that across the board to more people instead of them having to seek out other 4K options because they don't meet that income threshold, that all 4K students potentially could attend school. And as I talked to the board about this, there are some districts around the state that have adopted this model. And of course, there is a price tag to it because we technically don't receive any state funding for 4K students except for the CERDAP students. And so this would be a cost. Let me give you, for example, an elementary school student that is registered in grades 1st through 12, we actually get money for those students. And in this case, for a 4K student, we would not receive any money for them. But again, the reason would be that we are able to get to our students sooner and help them get acclimated to school and get ready for kindergarten as well. So that was one of the priorities. Another one was talking about elementary school intervention class, and so we currently have the Darlington County Intervention School that is grades 6 through 12, and one of the questions came up from the board about the potential to possibly have lower grades in there. I've actually had this come up every year from our elementary schools as well, and so a topic was discussed about potentially having maybe a 4th and 5th grade class combined at DCIS next year, and what would the impact look like on your schools, and what would the impact look like on the budget. Again, there's a cost to that for the teacher and aides. Another topic that came up was potential teaching assistants in the elementary schools. Currently we have teaching assistants for 4K and some 5K, but we don't really have teaching assistants in grades 1 through 5. And so what would that look like potentially, right, if we were able to put teaching assistants in 1st grade or 2nd grade or 3rd grade or all the elementary grades? And so there was a lot of discussion around that. Another priority item that the board discussed was the various career paths that we are promoting for our students. and specifically the Darlington County Institute of Technology career paths and students that attend that facility, certifications that are offered, and possibly expanding the different programs. For example, culinary arts or cosmetology, discussion about the new EV battery plant that's coming in close by to us and the technology involved with that. So again, just trying to expand all options, more options for our students. Again, some of our students have a 4-year college career path, and some of our other students have a career path that is right out of high school. And so we just want to make sure that we're exploring, acknowledging, and expanding where we can. Of course, those programs cost money too. And so I thought it was a really good conversation for our board to have and for them as a group to have the discussion. Of course, the next question is how much money will we have extra to spend on any of these priorities? And so that's what we're waiting to get that information from the state to let us know what the next steps are. And that'll be another discussion that we have with the board at a future meeting as well. Of course, there's also some other items that we talked about that are budget needs, specifically special education. There are limitations on class sizes and how many TAs are supposed to be involved with some of those classes. And so we talked briefly about that there's legal implications on special education classes, and so we need to expand some of those at some of the buildings in order to be in compliance. So we had that discussion as well, and also briefly about our Montessori program at Bay Road Elementary. Again, those numbers continue to grow. The program is successful, so that was on the list as well. So we will continue to have these discussions throughout the budget process. Technically, the budget will be passed in the middle of June to take place next July 1st. So there'll be a lot more to come on that. Another topic that the board discussed was the current state of the Darlington County Virtual Academy, and then potentially what does that look like in the future. And so there was discussion about how many students, for example, we currently have in the program, which is approximately 173. What the split out was, approximately 76 of those students are in high school right now. And the high school program is a little bit different than the elementary and middle school program. And then also just a conversation about the types of students that we are serving in the Virtual Academy, and how that impacts the families of those students as well as how it impacts our schools. For example, a lot of those students that we have in the Virtual Academy have medical needs that prevent them from being in person in school, or they may have emotional needs as well that prevent them from being in school, as well as there's some discipline situations too. And so all those impact the face-to-face environment, and the discussion was primarily about what that looks like, and in the future potentially what that could look like as well. So good discussion with the board, and of course Carla Jefferson, the principal for the Darlington County Virtual Academy, was there to share with the board a lot of information. And then the last topic that we had at the special call meeting had to do with Thornwell Elementary School for the Arts. Again, our Thornwell Elementary School for the Arts is on the priority list. It's been on the priority list for several years, and we're just trying to come up with some new ways to try to serve our students in a way that they can be more successful than what they have been in that environment. And what could that look like from a teacher standpoint? What could that look like from a school environment standpoint? And hope to have better outcomes because of that. The next topic I wanted to talk about is our April 22nd Random Act of Kindness Day. Again, we've been discussing this over the past couple months, and this is where our schools, our school community staff and teachers, our students, our local churches, and our local businesses come together to give back to Darlington County. And so really excited about this day. Again, our first one was last year, and I thought it was an incredible success in demonstrating how the school district gives back to our community and cares about our community. So those plans are in full swing, and I know each school has their plans that they're putting together at this point in time. I know there'll be a lot of media coverage of this as well, but most importantly, just a lot of joy and orange that is going to be spread around Darlington County on April 22nd, so we look forward to that. Another item that I'd like to discuss briefly is about a new fruit and vegetable program that our schools will be participating in, and this is where we are going to be giving away boxes of fruit and vegetables to families in our community. This won't be at every school. It'll be at typically a couple schools in a given community area, but we will let all of our families know that we have free fruit and vegetable boxes available to them to try to promote some healthy choices for their meals at home. So again, excited to be able to give this to our communities and to our students that we see every day as well. The next item on my list is we are deep in the mix of putting together our new website and communication platform that we will be switching to after this school year. And so very excited about updating what our presence is in all the different formats, whether that be online with our website or in social media, how we communicate with people, the phone calls that we make. All of that is being updated in one particular system. It's called Final Site, and you're going to start hearing more about that. Again, we'll be switching to this platform before the start of the next school year so we can start out fresh with it. It's just another way for the Darlington County School District to have a better presence out in the virtual spaces that are available and offer more content and information to all of our stakeholders, but also just have an easier platform for everybody to be able to use, whether that be teachers or administrators or the communications department or the technology department. This new platform is going to be much easier to use, more robust, and we believe will be a very good change and switch for us as we move forward. So after spring break, you're going to be hearing more and more about this at the school level, and just very excited about the changes to come. The last item I wanted to discuss is our strategic planning process. So since last November, we have had a group of stakeholders meeting to discuss what our priorities and goals are in the Darlington County School District for the next 5 years. Remember, this is a 5-year renewal process that we have to turn into the state, but also this folds into the school renewal plans that we have to do as well. And so we have a team of approximately 20 of a subcommittee that has been meeting on a regular basis, working on the specific goals that we will have and the strategies that we are putting together and the new mission statement and belief statements that we have. So we're really excited about updating that information to be more represented currently of the Darlington County School District. And so lots of good information to come with that. We have our final full group meeting with about 60 stakeholders the first week of April to present the findings and to present the goals, the draft of what we have. And then once we approve that, we'll be working throughout the rest of this semester to pin down what the actual strategy and action steps look like. We'll be turning in the new strategic plan, the district strategic plan, to the State Department by the end of April, and then certainly planning at the end of this year of what that looks like for next year. So you will be hearing a lot more about this, but just really excited and encouraged about what we're going to look like 5 years from now and what that looks like incrementally each year as we check in on it. But I really believe that we've had a chance to tie together what is really relevant and needed and wanted for our students and our families and communities through this new strategic planning process. And that's everything that I have on my list today for In the Know. Remember, we've got spring break coming up, and that will be an early dismissal day on April 7th. Again, the early dismissal schedules are on our website. So if you are wondering what those times are, or any of our family members of our students are wondering, that information is on the website, but it's an early dismissal day on April 7th. And then, of course, the following week, we will be off for spring break. So I pray you have a restful, safe, wonderful spring break time for you and family and friends, and that you get a chance to really unplug and recharge. And of course, when we come back, it is certainly coming down the home stretch for the end of the school year. There'll be approximately 5 weeks left in the semester after we get back. Testing is upon us in the month of May, and of course, more importantly, just to see the results from our students about the wonderful work that you have done with them all throughout the year, and see what those results are as our students take the end of the year testing. So again, I hope you have a wonderful spring break. As I always tell you, hug on your family. Tell them how much you love them, especially all the things that we see in the news these days. It's just so important that you do that on a regular basis. Tell them how much we appreciate them sharing you with us. And again, I can't thank all of you enough about the job you do in the Darlington County School District with our children, for our families, for our communities. You are so valued and appreciated, and I thank you for everything that you do. And I will look forward to seeing you in the next In the Know.